Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our episodes of It Takes a Village. It truly does. My name is Dyon, and I'm so excited to be sitting with another Dyon. This is so awesome that I get to sit with my namesake, and crazy enough that we're meeting for the first time in person.
We've been on social media friends for...
It's been like a year or two. Yeah, it's been a while. So we became friends on Facebook by way of Caprice Smith. She introduced us. She inboxed me and told me that I need to link up with you because I was, speaking out about lupus and said we had a lot in common and we definitely needed to talk. Yeah. And I wasn't doing anything. I knew I was supposed to be doing this YouTube channel, but I was like, I don't know. The Lord is trying to tell me to go in one way, and I was being stubborn, like, nah.
And he always turned you right back to what
right.
So I'm glad he did.
I wasn't ready. I was being pushed, but I was like, no. And then finally in January when I started, you were on my radar, but I was like, all right, I get to her. But, we're here now.
I'm so glad you contacted me.
Yes, I'm excited to hear about your story and for you to share and take it wherever you want to take it and, get into it as much as you want to about, how this journey has affected you and how much of it you have learned from.
We're figuring it out.
we're all still learning every day because every day I learn something new. So let's just start from the beginning as much as you can. Like, what you were diagnosed with and when.
Well, this journey has been something because as most people with lupus, if you aren't diagnosed really young, you find yourself going through about 3-4 different diagnoses before they decide to label and say that you have systemic lupus.
Right.
So I want to say it was about 2010, 2011.
Okay.
I got up on a regular day. I owned and operated a family daycare center for 12 years.
Oh, wow.
So it was a daycare day. The kids were laying down napping, and I think I got a phone call. And I answered the phone, kind of cradling my cell phone. I had a baby across my lap at the time, putting him to sleep. And I got a cramp in my shoulder. And I said, hold on, let me switch arms. And I couldn't move my arm. It wouldn't move.
Wow.
So I dropped the phone and I tried to ease the baby off of me. And I'm like, why can't I move my arm? So I had the phone on speaker at this point. I said, let me stand up. And it would not go up or down. It was just stuck. So I'm in my brain like, oh my God, I'm having a stroke. Oh. Then the thought went, if you're having a stroke, can you think that you're having a stroke? It's crazy the processes the mind takes, but
the stuff you think about in the moment.
It's like, why can't I move that? So I called my dad and I was like, something's wrong. I can't move my arm. He said, does it hurt? It doesn't hurt. It just won't move. So of course now I'm trying to can I pick things up? Can I open? I'm trying to self-diagnose what's going on. He said, no, I'm taking you to the ER. So we end up at the emergency room, sitting there for 12 hours for them to bring in a neurologist and can't find anything wrong with me. Okay, he says, maybe you have some muscle cramps, go to your doctor, get some blood tests run, things like that. So a couple of weeks go by, I end up going to the doctor and explaining to them the things that are going on. And she runs a series of tests. Before the results come back, I go in for a follow-up visit from the ER visit. She said, well, I just want to try something. I want to try these trigger points and see if you have any pain there that maybe you never paid attention to. So the first thing she did is press in the center of my chest. And I'm like, oh my God, why does that hurt? She pressed on my shoulders. Why does that hurt? Because did it always hurt? It's like stuff you never think of. Right. She said, I think you have fibromyalgia. I'm like, the thing they talk about in the commercials?
Right. I think everybody has seen those commercials at some point with the fibromyalgia and never really knew what it was.
I'm like, what does that mean? What does that mean? She said, I think that's what's going on with you. She said, but we'll wait for your test results to come back and see. So I'm going to give you some muscle relaxers. I think the first thing she gave me was Galaxin. And it's just a muscle relaxer, and try ibuprofen in between taking the Galaxin to see if it gives you any relief. And I'm like, okay, I just thought I was achy because daycare for all these years and lifting kids up and putting them down. Thought it was just regular body aches.
Right.
So there's no, in case you guys don't realize, there's no blood test to diagnose fibromyalgia.
Right. I do know that.
It is just trigger point pain.
Mm-hmm. They just press on you.
Right. And if it's consistent in those particular points, your shoulders, center of your chest, your shoulder blades, your hips, and your lower back points, then they kind of give you this diagnosis of fibromyalgia. And that's all there is to it.
Which I never really understood. I really never understood how that worked, because when I was going through the process and they were trying to diagnose me, they did all that pressure point test. And I was like, the heck is she doing? Everything hurts. Like, lady, get off
Stop
me.
touching it.
Yeah.
But that's all there is to it, really. And I'm not to say to anyone, don't misquote me in saying that if it hurts because your chest is tender.
That's not what we're saying.
Does not mean that you have fibromyalgia.
That's not what we're saying. No.
It's a series of kind of ruling out things. Mm-hmm. But that was one of the first things that I was presented with. From that point, my blood test came back and I had positive autoimmune titers. And I used to quote the numbers off the top of my head. I don't remember them now, but when they gave me these numbers, I was like, what does that mean? And of course I go right into Google and I'm Googling everything. Don't Google, guys.
You see how I just put my head down? Me and Dr. Google was so tight. We were like besties, okay?
Yes.
Wrong move.
The wrong move.
Don't
you
do
have
that.
yourself with every diagnosis. Oh my gosh, my elbow's gonna fall off. Oh my gosh, I have multiple
You're gonna be in a psych ward.
And I had rheumatoid arthritis. I gave myself everything. I had Lyme disease.
Right. I called my doctor. I was like, do I have AIDS? She was like, no. What are you talking? I was like, because everything was just lining up with. She was like, man, stay off Google.
Stay off Google, okay? It was bad because I really did. Because I couldn't understand how I could wake up on a Monday and be perfectly fine. Mm-hmm. And then wake up on a Tuesday and my arms don't work. So there's a whole series of old Facebook posts that have just started recycling back to me because it's kind of my diagnosis anniversary is around this time. Okay. And at one point I was requesting people to find me a bionic body because that's how much my body hurt.
So this is perfect time to be doing this interview because it's like I didn't even know. Look at God. Look at the Lord.
Yes, I was in the running for a bionic body. I did not want this because rolling over and literally being in pain is no joke. Having those series of muscle spasms where you can't lift your head, you can't bend, you can't pick up anything when you were just fine 48 hours ago. Mm-hmm. The way the symptoms come on, it makes no sense to me. I still don't understand it.
You never will, though.
All right.
So don't even try. It's some things that just can't be explained no matter how hard you try. There's just no explanation for it.
Right. And it took 3 rheumatologists. It took 3 rheumatologists to actually say the word systemic lupus to me. Because at first they said undifferentiated autoimmune disorder. Huh. That means absolutely nothing.
Right, because that means they can't figure out which one.
They can't figure out what it is. Because you have to have a series of positive symptoms before they say it. Before they'll say you have lupus, you have discoid lupus, or systemic lupus, or any other form of lupus. You have to have these positive symptoms. And meanwhile, you're on a series of medications, and it was pain meds and muscle relaxers and prednisone, which is the devil.
Well, you had those chipmunk cheeks, and I already got fat cheeks, so my face was like, looking like I ate my cousin.
And I'm small frame with big round moon face and trying to eat the entire refrigerator. It was not working.
Because you were always hungry. Like, what dosage did they have you on for prednisone?
40 milligrams.
Say what now, ma'am?
Yes. 10 milligrams, 40 milligrams a day. Huh. That was to get my body to stop.
Oh, your flares were really bad.
And when it first started, it was, and also physical therapy. Mm-hmm. Physical therapy does not heal fibromyalgia or lupus. it makes you hurt.
Well, it depends on how bad your flares are.
At the beginning?
Yeah, at the beginning, it's probably not gonna help that much, but like in the middle stages with mine, it was helpful.
Was aquatic therapy.
Absolutely, that actually worked for me.
Aquatic therapy helped.
Yeah.
But when your hips and your legs and your back and your arms are just like tense and aching and hot to the touch from the flare, you don't want nobody telling you to
squats and
pull on this band. Right. You're like,
you can't do all that in that
moment. I'm going to need you not talk to me. That's all I want. Please don't talk to me. You want me to come here and pay you to do this stuff to me? No,
actually, all I worked on during that time actually was just trying to gain my balance because my knees would give out so bad. I could barely like get a walking. Like if the police would stop me and tell me to stand on one leg, I would fail. They would think I'm drunk. Like I literally couldn't even do that. So yeah, so that balancing and things like that. That's pretty much what I worked on the most.
So you had the joint degeneration.
Yeah. So when you said that, I was like, yeah, physical therapy wasn't as bad for me, but that's because I didn't do most of the other stuff. I was just trying to gain my balance.
I just wanted the hip pain to stop. That was the worst. Like when you're not even 40 and you're kind of duck walking.
Right.
Like, what? Oh, God.
I was just like 33, 34, so I was really like losing my mind with that time. But I totally get the water therapy because I don't know if you experienced like when you got in the water how you had that superwoman feel because you could do everything in the water.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I swear. Look at this. I could walk.
I could lift my knees.
Yes. What? I was doing leg lifts in the water. I get out. I was like, don't try this on land. No.
It's just me. So good. I'm glad I'm not alone. I don't wish it on anybody, but I'm glad to know I have a sister in arms.
Right, we are there, and that's why I'm so excited to be doing this series because a lot of us feel like we are by ourselves, and we feel like we don't have anyone to connect with, and people who have the same experiences as us, but we just don't talk about it.
Exactly.
And people who don't have lupus or fibromyalgia, and I was diagnosed with Sjogren's, people who don't have all of those autoimmune diseases don't understand what it takes for us to even get by on a daily basis. So the reason why I call the series it takes a village, because it takes a village for us to regain our strength and our lives back.
Right.
So if we don't know what each other are going through,
yes,
and we're not sharing with people who are not living with a disease, how are we ever going to get by?
So have you found, and I still get this today, it's the dreaded words, but you don't look sick.
I swear, every time somebody said I want to punch him in the throat, I was like, I'm saved, but you could catch these hands, though. You really can catch these hands. Like, I hate that. I hate that statement. Right. I don't know what sick looks like.
Right.
You want me to walk around looking a hot mess to show you that I don't feel well, and when I do walk around looking a hot mess, you tell me that I look a hot mess.
Right, thank you.
What you want?
You're not helping.
You gonna get whatever I give you, and that's it. So the fact that people expect, I don't know, the deterioration of your skin when they think of skin lupus, and when they see it, ew, what's that?
Right, what's wrong with you?
And then when you're walking and you're limping, and you tell them why, they're like, oh,
right.
But then when you don't do any of that, they think, oh, well, you ain't sick. Nothing's wrong with you. So I don't know what people expect the disease to look like. And that's why I walk around and be like, how you doing? Fine. Sometimes I'm dying.
Yes.
I'm so overwhelmed with fatigue.
Oh,
I feel like I could collapse and fall asleep right on the floor, on the ground. On the street, especially with the summer heat. Yes. Okay. Like, I was driving over here and I was like, get it together. Like, you cannot be sleepy now.
The sun zaps you of your energy. It just it sucks it out of you, and I love the summer. I'm a summer baby.
You can have it. You can have all of it. Throw the summer away. Look, throw the summer away.
Don't say that,
Take y'all 90 degrees and y'all can keep it. Look, I don't want it. I don't want none of it. Like, I'm good with 70, 75.
Can't
When
go
it
to the
go-
pool when it's 70.
Look, when it goes higher than that, I get these migraines and
Yes.
all of that. So I'm like, no, y'all can
And
throw the
that's the
90
thing.
away.
I get all of that. I get the headaches. I get the discoid rashes. I get.
You do get the facial rash? So you get the butterfly?
Mhm.
Oh, man. I've only had that once.
I've dealt with that off and on. And I don't understand because when I try to tell my rheumatologist, I will see it flare up across my face, gets really bright red, and it'll last a couple of days, and then it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And what she was telling me is, oh no, it should, last longer than that. No, it doesn't for me. It'll be
Ma'am,
red.
sir, I don't care if it lasts 2
Right.
seconds. The fact that it comes is a problem.
It was Friday. My face was puffed up, and I was getting ready to go to a party. And I was like, oh, this will never do. What am I supposed to do with
She
this?
said this will never. No, this is the new makeup. No, it's
Right,
not.
no.
No.
I've had the scaly
Right.
rashes. I've
Mhm.
had those on my face. I've had them in my ear. I've had the nasal ulcers.
Yes, I get those in the
Oh
fall.
my God, me too. Okay, so it is seasonal.
Okay.
I was trying to figure it out.
Jesus, when
I
fall
get them.
comes, I get nervous because I get those, and I normally get a Q-tip and put some
Mhm.
virgin olive oil on it, and just
Oh.
I just do that twice a day till it goes away.
She gave me a paste, and I can't get me to put that in my nose.
No, no. When I told my doctor, she was like, "We could give you a pill." I was like, "I ain't taking another pill. You could keep it. I'm not. Don't even write the script because I'm not feeling it." And once I tried the olive oil one time,
See,
it worked.
It's good to know. This is why we need to talk.
Virgin, extra virgin. Look, the same one you cook with. Like I literally in the fall, I pour a separate bottle and I keep that in the bathroom.
Okay.
And I just dip the Q-tip in
And coat the nasal passages.
Mhm.
Okay, that's
morning
good to
and
know.
night.
That is good to know because it's like, oh my God, there's an unreal pain that you can't do nothing about, seemingly. But
Yeah,
thank you
that is something that that I even try to do it before it comes. That way, I'm coating my nasal passage before it, because I already know what's going to happen in the fall.
Okay.
And there's sometimes certain foods that I eat that are a little rough. Will cause the roof of my mouth to bruise.
Okay.
So, or my cheeks on the inside. I don't know why my mouth is so sensitive, but I have sensitivity in my mouth as well. So certain things I eat, I'm like, okay, I know I can't eat that.
Okay.
So I don't know if you experience that type of sensitivity as well, and it will like swell and bruise. So certain things I'm like, all right, I can't eat that. Oh, but I'm gonna eat that a little bit, and then I'm just gonna have to, deal with that swell. Greedy, like, don't eat it.
No,
But that's my favorite.
Deprive ourselves of those
Right,
things
so I'm
that
like,
we
oh,
enjoy.
let me get a couple chips. Oh yeah, but I already know what's gonna happen. My mouth's gonna bruise. Or like certain cereal that I used to like.
Oh, now I can say I do have that. Like it can't be a very coarse cereal because it will hurt the roof of my mouth. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Some stuff I'm not labeling anything. I'm not putting anything else on this disease because it's not going to take anything else away from me.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I try not to limit myself or let it take anything else away from me. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to eat 2 chips. I'm just not going to eat the whole bag. And then I'm just going to get my olive oil and just dab and soothe it on down and, go on about my business. But there are certain things that, life has changed. So in speaking of change, what are some changes that has happened, like, as far as, relationships with friends or a partner or, work life? How has lupus changed your life?
One of the biggest things, the biggest effect that it started to affect my business as far as daycare, because I did have the business for 12 years. And when I started getting sick, the first thing that I did was I let the parents know, this is what's going on with me. There will be days where I'm good, I'm fine, I'm perfect, and I can run circles with these kids all day long. And then there are days where the pain is unreal, and getting out of bed just is an effort that I would not be able to complete.
Right.
And my parents were really understanding. They were really great in working with me, but of course there were some that on those mornings where I had to have my daughter call and say, Mommy can't get out of bed today, well, is there a substitute? There's not always a readily available substitute. That's one of the things of being self-employed.
Right.
You have to work your business. There's nobody else that can
It's
step
no
in.
use, no business. Right.
Right. So I had to learn to cut back on some of those things that I did have. So instead of having 8 kids full-time all day, I would limit myself. I cut back on registration. I kept the families that had siblings.
Okay.
In the summertime, we would try to have a huge summer camp and all these trips and activities. I made sure that there was somebody that could go with me, or I called on the parents more often.
Right.
Can you chaperone? Can we do these things? Try to work together. And a lot of them were great. A lot of them were great and very understanding, but then there were some that, had to make changes for themselves and look out for the best interest of themselves and their child.
Right.
So that was one of the bigger things. Lupus, if you have a partner who is understanding, that is compassionate, that will stand by your side, then it's great, and it can be managed as a family together. My children stay on me now as far as taking care of myself. Mommy, if you know you don't feel well, then don't overdo it, and what can I do, and how can I help?
Oh,
so they've
awesome.
always been great. My ex tried to be very understanding, and I'm not going to say that lupus and fibromyalgia in and of themselves were the reason for our divorce, but I know that there was a strain.
Okay.
I know that there was, as much as he said he understood, I know that it hurts sometimes if I try to touch you. I don't know when it's okay to try to hug you and those things like that.
And most people don't understand that during the flare times, hugs hurt.
A lot.
Like a touch really was painful, and it's hard to wrap your brain around something
because,
like that.
Again, there's that but you look fine.
Yeah, you look cute. You look real good, but don't touch
me. So those are the things that can cause a bit of a pull and a strain if there are already some things going on.
Right.
It can exacerbate it. And so while he was great, and if there was a flare, if I was in the hospital, he was there. There was still that underlying that, again, if you wake up on a Monday and you're fine, then you wake up on a Tuesday and boom, you have this disease that I don't even understand, and what does it mean, and how did it happen, and what caused it, and did you always have it? All of those questions come about.
And now you're tired all the time, and you're sleeping, and then one day, okay, you can conquer the world. You're cooking dinner, you're cleaning up, you're doing everything, and the next day you're like sleeping all day. That can be.
Those are the things that cause people to kind of really not understand it, and then those conversations of, well, I know that there's some resentment there, but there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
There's no switch inside that you can flip on and flip off to say, oh, I'm going to be healthy today. I'm not going to have this autoimmune disorder that is kind of taking over my life. I'm going to be healthy, and I'm going to go back to how I was 7 years ago. I want nothing more to just not even have to deal with this.
Child, we all do.
But you can't, there are things that, there are lifestyle choices that you can make. You can try not to eat the foods that are going to cause inflammation, like garlic. I love garlic, but garlic causes inflammation.
Yeah, too much of one thing is not good. I mean, you could chop up like a little piece and put it in your food as you're seasoning it, but you can't just go ham on garlic. You know, you just can't.
Right. So you learn those things to try to get some normalcy, a sense of normalcy in your life. So I've been divorced now for about a year.
Okay.
And even in that transition, divorce meant, there came a point where I decided to move, and moving meant leaving my business because it was a family daycare. So I left the home, closed the business, and then had to decide, what does living with lupus in the working world, corporate America look like? How does that even look? How do I explain this to people? How do I go into this job? And
I got chills because that's real right there.
That it was scary.
Yeah.
It was a big leap of faith. It was a huge move that was for the best, but moving, separating, closing your business,
that's a lot.
Going back into a working world that I hadn't been in for over 10 years, it's like, oh, how is this even going to work? And then what if I get sick? And how do I explain this to them? And will I have a boss that understands? And how does FMLA work again? And, all of those things. This year has been a year of transition. I called last year my year of yes. I'm sorry.
That was your yes year too?
Last year was my yes year.
Oh my God, we had the same name. We had a yes year. Oh my God. Never mind. We'll finish this off. Yes, that is so awesome.
Year of yes. This year is my year of renewal and regeneration. So I'm challenging myself to step out into things. That's why when you called, I was like, yes, I'll do it. I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know how it was going to go.
And I hesitated all this time. I was like, I don't know if she's ready. Let me do a few more episodes and maybe she's watching and seeing how it's working and other people, sharing their stories. So I'm glad I waited.
Thank you. So it's been really good. And to my pleasant surprise, going into this job that I have a great team.
Good.
I have a great lead who is like, whatever you need, just, if you're not feeling well, they don't even ask for documentation. So I'm not going to put them out there. But,
yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's the whole point of having a team.
I'm not feeling well. It's a phone call. Are you okay? Do you need anything? So I feel kind of safe in this. And I guess that's the best thing because, as you know, there are triggers to lupus. So if you're stressed, stress is a huge trigger for me. Again, the environment, like we were talking about with the sun. So all of those different things that we know can...
And cold.
Cold hurts. But...
Yes.
So all of those things contribute to triggers. So because I'm starting over, because I'm in this new job, I'm very aware of the things that I know will set me into that place. So I don't stress.
Wow.
Work is work. Home is life, and that's how I keep it. And if it's something going to any of you that have ever worked in corporate America, you know that it's a whole bunch of mess and office environments. I don't let it get to me. I don't let it bother me because my health is the most important thing.
Right.
So if I know that stress is going to send me into a flare and I'm going to start being in pain, I'm going to start having migraines, I don't want that life. I don't want it. In the midst of my divorce, I had to physically say, why am I hurting? Why am I aching? Why am I have these headaches? Why? Oh my gosh, I don't want this. It's the stress, even when you don't acknowledge it.
Yeah, because sometimes you think, oh, I'm just ripping and running, I'm doing X, Y, Z, and you don't even know that your body is like going through this change. But at some point, your body will just tell you when it's had enough.
I went from 160 pounds last year. I went all the way down to 118. Stress. Medication changes.
Let me get some of that stress.
No,
I'm just playing.
No.
I'm just playing.
Listen, I started at the beginning and saying I've always had a small frame. We know the medications change. So between the prednisone and the Lyrica's a medication to manage fibromyalgia, that put a lot of weight on me. And I thought I was voluptuous.
Voluptuous. Yes, darling.
But it did. It put a lot of weight on me.
We almost wrapping up, but are there any periods of time since you've been diagnosed that you had to have any major hospital stays?
I have been blessed to not have any major organ involvement.
Okay.
The one thing that I deal with probably once a year is pleurisy. Pleurisy is the inflammation of the lining of your lungs. And it makes it feel like there's an elephant sitting on your chest.
Wow.
And it starts off kind of mild, like, ooh, you get winded walking up and down the stairs or doing too much activity. That's my major involvement. That has put me in the hospital twice. And then when you go in, because you're not sure, like they're running a series of tests, I've now learned how to say, okay, this is pleurisy, let me call my remo and get an injection instead of going to the hospital.
ER, okay, because the ER doesn't really know how to deal with anything regarding any of these autoimmune diseases. They'll have you sit there for like 13 hours.
Yes. So my last trip to the ER was last summer during all of this, and I was having pleuritis, and I went in and said, it hurts for me to breathe, I have lupus, I have fibromyalgia, I'm pretty sure this is pleuritis, I can't make it to my doctor. I told them all of this, and I sat there for 12 hours.
I know, because I sat there for 13 hours last summer, and they still sent me home because they couldn't figure out what was causing the pain. And they're like, oh, you have a gallstone, though. What?
Yeah.
Where'd that come from? I didn't even know I had a gallstone. But all right, let me go because the pain ain't what y'all think it is, and you can't figure out. Okay, so my ribs were like on fire.
Oh.
And there was a stabbing pain somewhere else, like in my stomach, and it wasn't even near the gallstone. So yeah, they never really know what to do. So yeah,
even when you tell them. So the best thing that I've learned to do is, if I feel like there's something going on with lupus, I just go straight to my rheumatologist.
That's the best
I send
way.
her a text or email, and this is what's happening with me. This is how I'm feeling. What is this? Do I need to see you? Because it's all new. It's all very new. Even the hair loss is new to me. I'm learning how to manage just something as simple as our hair.
Right, and I remember you saying you had locks and you cut them out, and I had locks and I cut them because my hair was thinning, and we didn't even know that it was lupus. We just know our locks were...
They were thinning for